Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing some brass casting, and to do this I'm going to be using a method I haven't used so far, and that is lost wax casting. I've already done a few other methods and a few other types of metals, and it's been so much fun that I wanted to try something new, and that's this lost wax casting. So basically with this method you have a whole bunch of wax that you sculpt and carve the shape that you want. Once you have that shape ready, you can then put that shape into a plaster mold. And once the plaster is dry, you then flip it over so that the wax, when you heat it up, it can melt right out. After you melt out the wax, it's ready to go to pour the metal into it. So basically that's what I'm going to be doing today. I've already got the carving of the wax ready to go. I need to go through the process of mixing up the plaster, making the mold, heating it up, and getting the metal ready, molten, and pour that into the mold. So stick around guys, see what I've got planned, and I'll get started. To start, I'm going to paint on a thin layer of plaster and make sure I cover all the details on this wax model. This really cuts down on the air bubbles that will form in your model and help get a lot better detail with the finished product. Now for the mold today, I'm going to be using plaster of Paris and some sand mixed together with water, and I'm trying to make this as smooth as I can to keep any imperfections happening in the mold. Now it's time to dunk the wax model into the mold. And you can see I haven't pushed it all the way down. I'm using a can just to keep from the hydraulic pressure pushing the model up out of the plaster. Once it's done drying, I can stick it in the oven, heat it up, and all that wax will come back out. Now most of the wax has already left the mold, but I need to burn out anything that's left over. So I'm gonna heat it up as hot as I can, and at the same time I'm melting down my metal, and then I'll pour the metal into the mold while it's still hot to keep the metal from cooling too quickly. Today I'm going to be using my homemade forge that I made a while back. It's powered by charcoal, and I have a blow dryer forcing air into the bucket, and this helps it really superheat the metal and melt it down. Now, before I can pour this into my mold, I need to skim off any of the junk and imperfections that have floated to the surface. Now, when pouring this into the mold, guys, if you try this, please be careful. It will splash and bubble, and you don't want to have any exposed skin. You want to keep your distance away from it. Don't get too close. Now it's right about this time that I found out that my mold did not work, it failed. And I believe that's because the metal wasn't quite hot enough. It was just at the point of liquefying, which it needs to be a lot hotter. So the legs didn't form, the ears and the antlers didn't form as well. So I'm really bummed. I'm gonna take it inside, clean it up, and see what it looks like. So I don't want to quit. This took a ton of time already. It was a lot of fun, and I want to have something to show for it other than a half-finished deer. So I'm going to take some wood, I'm going to sculpt some legs and antlers out of wood and resin and put that onto this deer and see what I come up with. I'm going to use my knife to whittle off the bulk of the wood, get it close to the shape that I want. Once I have that shape pretty close, then I'll use my Dremel tool to do the rest of the detail. Now I accidentally figured out the sticky side of this tape does not stick to the epoxy when it's drying. So I'm going to use this to my advantage, put some epoxy inside, roll it up, and once that dries I can use those for my antlers. Now the shape and everything is how I want it. I'm going to go back with my Dremel tool and cut the detail of the fur into the resin and wood to match the brass. This looks really good. The first leg is done, and I think this texture matches the one on the brass, so I need to finish up doing that on the rest of the wood and resin. Now I'm going to take some wood stain and apply that to the wood, and I purposefully chose a darker stain that will contrast with the bright brass and the dark resin that I chose. And this is because I want it to stand out. I want you to be able to see the different medias that I used to finish this deer. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. You may have noticed it's hard for me to quit when there might be a chance that I can fix it, and this time I'm so glad that I took that chance and I tried to fix this, because now I have a finished product and it's so unique. I was so bummed when I saw the deer come out of the mold with less than half of its legs, and its antlers were gone and one ear was missing as well. That's a lot of work to have been lost, but I jumped back in, tried again, and I've got a finished deer now. Alright, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and if you want a notification when I upload a video, click on that bell icon, and don't forget to give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Thanks guys, I'll see you in the next one.